the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
For a reason, Texas ultimately not able to do it. You just don't want to be in that kind of hole in the college football playoff and going into the fourth quarter. But what did you make of Texas going down to Washington in the Sugar Bowl, Matt Green?
Yeah, Adonai Mitchell with kept the touchdown playoff streak going. So he scored a touchdown in all 5 playoff games he played in, but can't get that third straight national title. But yeah, this was absolutely insane there at the end. It felt like Washington really, and that's why I told you, like, as much as Texas felt like the better team, I couldn't get this out of my head that like they feel just like Oregon. They feel like the same team as Oregon. And on paper, we all think Oregon is better than Washington, but Washington just beat Oregon twice. And I wish I would have looked up how many games Washington wasn't favored in this year. It wasn't many, but every time they were doubted, they've shown that they're legit. And Michael Penix Jr., like, his legacy is just off the charts. Like, I mean, I was questioning Michael Penix Jr. down the stretch. Like, I think Rome Odunze should have been a Heisman finalist over him. But this was his Vince Young, his Deshaun Watson potential moment of like, okay, he might not be the Heisman winner that season, but he's the guy that everyone remembers for that college football season. And he's got the potential to do that. Throwing for 400 yards in the semifinals. Like, I mean, these receivers, like, by themselves are just mismatches. But if you're going to put a perfect ball, like, it's like they didn't even have to have the elite receiver advantage. He just put it right, like, on top of everybody. Like, he was just making perfect throws the whole game. And Texas didn't have much of an answer. And they controlled the clock, which was really the blueprint for when they beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship.
I just am so impressed by Michael Penix. Like, he's just, I saw someone who did like a, I don't know how they do it, but they were able to edit the footage and make him right-handed and what it looks like if he were throwing these darts right-handed. And it looks almost identical to Phillip Rivers. Like, all of his stuff just looks like prime Phillip Rivers. And it's just kind of funny to think like how much our perception skewed just because he's a lefty.
Can't not think he's Tua while watching him play. Like, he looks just like him.
But guess what? They didn't trail by 8+ in this game, Matt Green. They keep that streak alive. Washington just doesn't do the dumb stuff. They don't get themselves in a hole. They were protected. Michael Penix, well, I don't think Michael Penix was sacked in this game. He doesn't throw a pick. He is just good. And people were worried about the Washington front versus the Texas defensive line. Texas defensive line was good, especially the interior, but it just didn't matter. Like, Penix was just on the money when he needed to. And also what I was most worried about with Texas was, like, I think these NFL receivers with Polk, McMillan, and Odunze, I just don't think Texas has the horses out in the secondary to keep up with these guys. These are all 3 NFL guys. And it just, they're not 2019 LSU with Jamar Chase and company, but they're good. And this is an elite offense that's just really, really hard to stop. And it's just, hats off to Washington because they know what they are. They know how they're going to attack you, and they're just going to keep doing it. And most teams are not going to be able to stop them because they just don't have the dudes to do it.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I threw out that diet 2019 LSU after a couple games this season. These receivers are legit, but you're exactly right. I mean, they could not guard these guys. And even with all that, Texas did have a chance to win this game at the end. And I was with how it ended, I was honestly shocked that Texas did not pull this thing out. Like, yeah. And especially for Dylan Johnson to get hurt on what really should have been almost the final play of the game. Like, I don't know why they didn't knee the ball 3 times, maybe even do like the run around for 3 or 4 seconds and knee it 3 times. Like, there should have been about 10, 15 seconds. I think I was trying to do the math in my head, but when he gets hurt on 3rd down and the clock stops, like, also, so the clock doesn't keep going even though he's injured. Like, that's what I don't understand either. Like, it's a running play. He's down. I didn't understand why the clock stops there. But then you got the kick catch interference. So they're starting that drive on the 30. Like, it was just, oh man, everything going wrong. And I don't know if it didn't look like Dylan Johnson's going to play. I don't want to speculate about injuries, but the way he walked off the field, that doesn't look like a guy.
And he's had injury problems at different points this year too. Like it's going to be, you don't get another month off to get right like you just got for this one. Like it's next week. It sucks.
And that's
I hope
such
he's
a bummer. Playing against such a physical team like Michigan to not have the workhorse. And we literally talked about coming to this game how Texas, even after blanking on the running back's name, right? Jonathan Brooks got hurt. They still had a bunch of guys that were able to, be really productive. So Washington, it was all Dylan Johnson on the ground. So hopefully he can play, but I'm not optimistic. But yeah, the way they were, Washington was able to close this out. Like, man, it felt like that 2012 SEC championship, Georgia, Alabama. They actually got the 4 shots from the end zone. They didn't throw it one time and then the clock ran out on them. They got the 4 shots from the 12-yard line. And with these Texas receivers, I'm honestly shocked that they didn't find a way to get in the end zone. Like, I'm not going to call out Steve Sarkisian. It's like, things happen. Plays happen here and there, but
we can call him out for one. The first play was insane. That check down to the right, that just throw to the right was insane.
And being like an offensive guru type of coach, like you don't have the play like from the 12-yard line to get your team to the national championship, like something that you're like, this is the play. We got dudes at receiver, like I don't know, it just you throw up the fade, you throw like you're talking about the one in the flat, like. Like you should have taken 4 shots to the end zone, and I don't know. Maybe you don't have enough time.
I would have just gone to A.D. Mitchell 4 times in a row, like that same move, honestly. 4 times in a row.
Yeah, and he had single coverage, I think, every play too. So yeah, I don't know. It just you got to be frustrated with the offensive coach, like to not have something better in that situation.
I ask you here as we wrap up here, Matt Green. Quinn Ewers proved a lot to me. I think Quinn was good. I was interested to see the reaction to that. I was like, Quinn was fine. He wasn't the issue. And I think Quinn played really well in this game. And I'm very curious how this offseason goes with Texas, because I'm sure there's some Texas fans who are like, Quinn, thank you for the time, but we are ready to, like, Arch is here. Like, is Arch and the Manning family okay sitting another year if Quinn decides to come back? Like, I am very curious how this goes for Texas this offseason, because I think you can make the case because they're bringing a lot back and they're right there, obviously, in the blue chip ratio, and they're coming to the SEC. You kind of want to have the continuity of Quinn coming over to make things a little bit easier. But also, is that realistic with Arch and everything else? I don't know. Like, they're in a weird spot. But also, if he didn't go to Ohio State out of the gate, do you know where he'd be great for a 1-year just transfer? Ohio State. Like it's just, it kind of sucks that he burned that weird senior year where he comes early, because I'm like, Quinn Ewers.
You think about this year. Like, I think Ohio State could have used Quinn Ewers this year as well.
Oh, 100%.
Won the national championship. That's basically what they were missing. So I don't know. I don't think you can worry about Arch Manning at all, to be honest. I think Quinn Ewers has the potential to be the number 1 pick in the 2025 draft, honestly. Like, I think he's right there. Like, I think Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, like, they are like probably the 2 best quarterbacks coming into next season. I mean, who are the
Shedeur Sanders will be in that mix.
Shedeur Sanders,
JJ McCarthy. We'll see how he does if he comes back.
I don't put him in the.
I wouldn't either, but I'm just saying he's back. I don't know.
But yeah, in terms of the contenders, I mean, he's definitely back, right? He's not going pro. I don't think JJ McCarthy's going pro, right? Everyone else seems to think he's better than I do, but I don't know. So I think Quinn Ewers is one of the better quarterbacks, one of the best quarterbacks in college football. So yeah, if Arch Manning isn't cool sitting for 2 years, I don't know. Arch Manning, he's got his own aspirations, but this is the richest backup quarterback we've ever heard of, especially in college. Like, this man's going to do the Matt Leinart, Chase Daniel thing just straight out of high school.
Well, it's also like you only need 2 years of tape. So if he sat another year, Texas goes on a deeper run. He gets to continue learning, sitting, waiting, that kind of thing, getting better.
And you don't need to. I mean, there's plenty of guys that Trubisky, Mark Sanchez, like we've seen guys go top 5.
I just don't feel like the Manning family wants him to be a one and done, like one college football season, then go pro. That doesn't feel like a Manning thing to me.
I mean, those were both like 4-year starters, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I have my doubts about that one.
Yeah, you could be right. I don't know. He's still got time. Still got plenty of eligibility.
The point is, it's an interesting offseason ahead in Austin because I could see it going either way there. I'm very curious to see what happens.
I also think, like I was talking about FSU earlier, like this kind of being a perfect storm for them. Like, I think Texas was in a little bit of a perfect storm season this year. Like, it's good.
Go. Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.